Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. It is Friday, June the 2nd, 2023. We are standing alongside the Polderbaan, where once again departures take place. At the moment, the only runway in use for departures. The wind currently blowing from the north, as has been the case, well, for over a week now, almost 2 weeks now, that the prevailing wind is coming from the north to northeast. Today it is on average coming directly from the north, so pilots taking off from this runway will be facing headwind. Morgen, Koenie, goedemorgen. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. In the distance we are seeing an Embraer 190 from KLM lining up to take off. KLM flight 1059. Outbound to Cardiff. Hey there Tiriliri, goedemorgen, good morning. This airplane is 11 years old and had its first flight in January 2012. Oh, and it seems that there is another runway open for departures. Is that center? Probably is. Is that center or is that right that they are taking off from? Just to show you guys the big picture, it is overcast at the moment. Temperature is a bit low still. It is, what was it again? 12 degrees centigrade? I think it was 12 degrees centigrade. So that is 2 times 12, 24, 54-ish Fahrenheit. Now the wind is blowing from the north. As you can see by the smoke, it is coming towards us, but also moving from left to right, which is in line with the current camera position. This is about northeast that I'm facing, so 45-degree angle versus the runway and also this canal which runs parallel to the runway. The runway configuration is basically the same as it has been over the last couple of weeks. Landings take place on 06 and also on 36 right. Departures take place from 36 left and from 36 center. In the meantime, good morning Tiriliri, good morning, goedemorgen Sadipoes, and good morning Jerry, who was already so kind to give a super chat so early in the stream. Thank you so much, Jerry. How are you? Are you night owling? It is midnight? 9-hour time difference, so it's just midnight, I think, on the west coast. Good morning, Alex Reason. And indeed, Koenie, the sun is set to come out later today, but they also said that about yesterday, and in the end it turned out, at least in my part of the country, that we did see some sun in the morning occasionally, and after that it became cloudy again and a bit chilly. Now I came prepared today, have my winter parka still on, with the prevailing wind about 8 knots blowing from the north, which is quite chilly. Not overkill. Hey Martin, goedemorgen. Checking the stream again while riding a shovel. Hey there Miguel, good morning. Checking in from Barcelona. Hopefully the weather is better over there than it is over here. Good morning Caroline. Hope everybody is doing well. So yeah, center is also being used for departures. I can see that there is a Corendon 737 lining up on the threshold now, and it is outbound to Heraklion in Greece. Can also see that an A319 from EasyJet to Liverpool has just crossed the southern tip of the center runway, so it will be coming this way. Ooh, some good whiskey to sip on. Japanese whiskey or what? They make some great whiskey. We have some whiskey bars in Amsterdam. Back when I was still living in Amsterdam, I used to go there with some friends every now and then. So many exotic whiskies that you could try there. Just amazing how many different flavors and nuances there are. Well, the Corendon 737, not really. They didn't really splurge on a very colorful livery. Just the name on the fuselage and on the tail, and that's it. Now the cloud base is relatively high. You can still follow the airplanes relatively well before they enter into the clouds. Oregon River whiskey, so locally brewed, or distilled I should say. Hey there Joner, good morning, or good morgon as this is Swedish. Well, that's not very dissimilar to how it is in Dutch when we say goedemorgen. And Joner also saying that there's an A350 from Finnair coming in. That is very promising. Okay, voice like AM radio again. Let me just... restart the wireless transmitter. Hopefully this will make things better again. Hey there Benjamin, guten Morgen. Herzlich willkommen. Hey there Darth Cloud, good morning. Tim, goedemorgen, good morning. So we're waiting for the next airplane to come this way. At the moment there are no departures taking place, even though 2 runways are open. There is an A319 to Liverpool from EasyJet on its way over here. We should be able to capture it. Right, there it is. It is already on its way from the main platform area over to the Polderbaan area. It still has some way to go. Now there's also a 737 from KLM outbound to Bilbao on the move. It's moving south. So I'm not sure if it's going to go to center or if it's going to go around the southern threshold and come to left as well. Well, for the weekend they are even predicting temperatures in the mid 20 degrees centigrade, so in the 70s Fahrenheit. I've yet to see it to believe it, but it is said that it is going to get more sunny. Now we've heard that many times before already in the season. And in the meantime I'm still standing here with my winter parka on in the morning, even though it is June. It seems that the Schiphol firefighters, or at least the Polderbaan firefighters, are also preparing for their daily round. So they should be coming towards us on the other side of the runway, and then on the northern threshold turn around and come back this way via the road that is on this side of the runway. Now at the moment I'm the only person here. This is the cycling path that leads back to the main Spottersplaats. Now there were already a few people over there, 1 or 2. Don't see the fence, so it's hard to see them spotting at the moment. Over here, nobody. Thanks for the feedback, Kuni. Voice is spot on now, so that when that happens, it's just a matter of switching off the wireless transmitter and turning it on again. That's like literally 5 seconds of work. So do let me know when it happens again. It is a quick fix. Apparently it has something to do with the wireless signal. Ah! Good morning, Gosse. Goedemorgen. Hey daar, Rick. Goedemorgen, kerel. Alles goed, jongen? EasyJet, Airbus A319, outbound Liverpool. Here we go. You're right there, Jerry. I always found it curious. Well, I'm sure that's something you have in every language. Words that sound or have a different meaning, or in a different context. So good morning in Japanese is Ohio or Ohio, I think, with the accent. But of course, Western people will know it as a state in the United States. So, let's see what's in the pipeline. We have a Boeing 737-900 from KLM, outbound to Oslo, coming this way. There's an Embraer 175 to Norwich, also from KLM, coming this way. Oh, I think we'll if you're an Embraer fan, brace yourself. We are going to see a lot of them, I think, in the upcoming half hour. There are a lot of them on their way over here. And congratulations and yippee for Rick celebrating 2 months of membership. On to the next one. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your ongoing support, Rick. And good morning and hele goede morgen, Keusmisty. Is that how I should pronounce your name? So while we are waiting for airplanes, K3 bird controller doing a round. In the Ford Ranger, or at least I have been told that this is a Ford Ranger pickup truck. Doing some off-roading there. Keeping the area around the runways safe. Sometimes there are even big birds in the vicinity. Last week I was walking back to my car after having streamed here, I saw an enormous big goose with that long neck, and it was basically flying over the canal over here. Now luckily there was also a bird controller there. The airplanes that were lining up in the distance had to wait. The bird controller entered the runway and fired off some rounds to chase it away this way to the wheat field and away from the runway. In the meantime, a departure from center. Looks like another Embraer. Oh yeah, Swan indeed. You're absolutely right, Kuni. Keep confusing them. The ones that KLM used to have in their commercials back in the day. Swans. Now meanwhile I'm hearing something, so let me zoom out already to show you. Here they are, the firefighters. Now will they sound the horn for the people over at the parking place? Apparently no spectators at the fence over at the Spottersplatz, otherwise they would have sounded their horn. So, in the meantime, good morning to Steve J, and also good morning to Eddie. Now, let's have a look. In the pipeline for Polderbaan, we have 2 airplanes arriving on the scene. The first one, a Boeing 737-900 outbound to Oslo, followed by an Embraer 175 going to Norwich. Now, further down the road, and just its tail is currently visible, is another Embraer 175 outbound to Humberside. Now it looks like the 737 is going to take off from the entrance that I normally stand in line with when doing the departures from that side of the runway. So it's not going back to the threshold, but will be taking off from over there. So this is KLM flight 1143, Boeing 737-900, outbound to Oslo in Norway. And this airplane is 21 years old already, had its first flight in August 2001. Embraer 175 outbound to Norwich. Hardly any time to follow the airplanes once they have left the ground, because behind me the next airplane is already lining up and will be departing anytime already. They don't leave a lot of gaps between those airplanes. Alrighty then. KLM flight 1485, Embraer 175 outbound to Humberside. This airplane is 6 years old and had its first flight in September 2016. And goedemorgen Paul, checking in from Leiden. And Miguel, what do you mean with today I not comfortably day? Are you feeling sick? Hopefully not. Alright, she's moving. Was just about to have a look on Flight Radar to see what else was in the pipeline, but I will be doing that after this airplane has departed. The weather is not nice. No, exactly, you're right, Miguel. It is a bit overcast. It's also a bit chilly. 12 degrees Celsius, Miguel. So about 54 degrees Fahrenheit. It is so cold that the ducks are also in hiding. I do spot a bird further out. I think it might be a duck, but I'm not sure. It could also be a coot. Or is it a grebe? Well, hard to see from over here, at least on my little camera screen. Now, it is awfully quiet. They are sleeping in, the birds, but that's a pattern I think I have started to recognize, that the water birds show themselves later in the morning. They are not early birds, so to speak. And this is the pipeline visualized. 2 airplanes coming this way. Two Embraers 190. The first one to London City, the second one to Leeds. Let's enable digital zoom again, just for our amusement. And let's see what's on the sandwiches that they are eating over there. Hey there, Kampas. Good morning. Goedemorgen. Right, so the 2 Embraers are coming this way. The firefighters are testing their gear, which is what they do after their morning round typically. Celebrate with a water fountain. Natwa is checking in from the Basic Fit from the gym. That is excellent combination of business with pleasure. Hey there, Angelic, good morning. Hope everybody is doing well on this Friday. In the meantime, the first of the 2 Embraer 190s is ready to go. It is KLM flight 987, the countdown flight number, outbound to London City. The airplane is 13 years old and had its first flight in July 2009. Indeed, Jerry, the flowers also need some water. We haven't had any precipitation of significance in a few weeks now, I think. And I think that the forecast for the upcoming weeks, next 2 weeks or so, is also no precipitation. So you do need to start watering your plants if you want them to survive the summer season. Next up, KLM flight 1541, Embraer 190 outbound to Leeds. She's 11 years old. First flight was in January 2012. Yeah, exactly. It is headwind, Jerry. 360, 8 knots or so. It's nothing to write home about. You can see it in the water. Hardly any ripples. Although if you look at the chimney smoke further out in the Westport area, you do see that there is some wind. Also the windmills in the background, they are spinning, but they do spin at low wind speeds already. So that doesn't say a lot. Notva says, awesome the sound in your headphone in the gym. Excellent. Are you on a cardio machine, Notwa, or are you doing some strength training with dumbbells or barbells or on one of the machines? Just curious. Hey there, Peter P. Good day to you. Good evening to you. I think it is. What's the time difference? 9 hours, 10 hours later for you guys. End of the afternoon, beginning of the evening, probably. Meanwhile, takeoffs from center take place. So as soon as you post your ticker, they update the weather and the runway usage. Now there is an Embraer. No, I'm sorry, there is an Airbus coming this way, an A320. Ooh, massage chairs. Awesome. I didn't know that Basic Fit had massage chairs as well. I do know that but most gyms do. They have those pads that you can stand on that start to vibrate so that you can get a literal shakedown after having worked out. But massage chairs, that's a whole new level. Haven't heard that a lot, that people are watching the stream from the gym while being in the gym. Awesome. So this is EasyJet. Aer Lingus. Really need to drink more coffee before going out. Well, maybe not, because then I have to pee as well. This is Aer Lingus flight 841, and it is an Airbus A320 going to Cork. This Airbus is 18 years old and had its first flight in March 2005. Hey there, Elske. Goedemorgen, good morning. Marius, goedemorgen, good morning. Hope you are all doing well on this Friday morning. As you guys can see over here in Amsterdam, it is still overcast. It is not exactly warm. Though it is set to get better during the day. So it is about 12 degrees Celsius at the moment, or 54 degrees Fahrenheit. There's a little bit of wind blowing from the north. The prevailing wind has been blowing from the north to northeast for more than a week now, I think almost 2 weeks. Which means that the pilots taking off from this runway who take off in northerly direction will be facing headwind mostly. Runway 36 center is also being used for departures. The firefighters are still out with their machines, their equipment. Or at least one is. And you can also see the windsock in the middle of the screen. Not doing a whole lot. PM in Canberra. So that is 9 hours time difference. Right? 6 p.m. Well, it's 10 a.m. over here almost, so that is 8 hours time difference. Another 737 just took off from center. Now it's almost 10 a.m. and typically between 10 and 12 you start seeing the outbound rush for the intercontinental flights to the United States, Canada, South America. All of them are westbound vis-a-vis the orientation of the Netherlands, so most of them, if not all of them, will be coming this way eventually. So I'm expecting the traffic for heavies to pick up, and looking at the winglets, it looks like there's an A330 on its way already. I hope not Sadie Poos. They did say it was going to get a bit warmer over the weekend, but and you're right, Run and Games. When I fully zoom out, you can see the microphone. Sennheiser MKE 600. Google it. The thing is really long, and I cannot mount it much more to the back because there are also knobs that need to be free, that need to be accessible. But you're right, you can see the dead cat of the microphone when I'm fully zoomed out. It is a good mic though. Okay, Natwa, see you in a minute. Salut Jean-Yves, good morning. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope the weather over there where you are at is better than it is over here. So this airplane, I think most of us, if not all of us, would want to be on board right now because it is going to Sint Maarten. Not only a very sunny and warm place, but also, of course, a very nice airplane spotter favorable airport. Now, zooming out a little bit, seems that after this A330 we are still going to see a few narrow bodies before it really starts to pick up. Embraer's underway, A319 from EasyJet. But first, and don't get confused, this is KLM flight 787. But it is an Airbus A330-300 taking off to Sint Maarten. This airplane is 16 years old and had its first flight in July 2006. It is like watching paint dry. The retraction of the Airbus A330's landing gear. Halfway to Sint Maarten, but it is fully retracted. So it will now be climbing in runway heading until it reaches the North Sea Canal, which is when it is going to make a left-hand turn to the west, fly towards the North Sea, and then depending on where today's North Atlantic tracks are oriented, which depends on the jet stream, they will fly towards the United Kingdom, either more to the south or more to the north. Ooh. You just bought 2 cool sweaters. Nice, Gosse. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm very curious to see what they are going to be looking like. The hoodie is very warm, I can tell you that. I have a vest that when it is a bit chilly I used to put it on, but I found that the hoodie is just that bit thicker, bit better insulated. You can use it as a sort of in-between jacket when it is too cold to go out without a jacket, but too warm to wear a winter jacket. Well, in the meantime, another Embraer over here. The European destination exodus is now taking place. We will be seeing a few more narrow bodies. Out in the distance, the next airplane. An Embraer 190 to Gdansk in Poland. KLM flight 1917. Embraer 190 outbound to Gdansk. The airplane is 5 years old, had its first flight in February 2018. After that we are going to see an EasyJet A319 to London Luton and also a Boeing 737-800 from KLM to Copenhagen. Now looking a bit further out on the main platform area, I do see that a few heavies that have destinations on the other side of the Atlantic have come alive. I think they probably will have to get pushed back first and then taxi over here, but the heavy outbound rush hour seems to be in preparation. So that is good news for people who want to see some variation in the stream, and I'm including myself as one of those people. Rick is already informing us that in the north of the country the sun is out already. Well, the wind is blowing from the north, so logically speaking you would think that it's just a matter of time then before the sun will also start to come out over here in Amsterdam, or the Amsterdam area. And here is our next airplane. EasyJet flight 22514. It is an Airbus A319 with destination London, Luton to be exact. A319-100. She is 16 years old, had its first flight in March 2007. We're going to see a Boeing 737-800 from KLM to Copenhagen after that. Now the EasyJet is going to line up from that first non-threshold entrance, basically in a straight line when you come over from the main platform area. There's also another Airbus from Aer Lingus coming this way. So at least in terms of the narrow bodies, it's not Embraer 175 and 190 only. So if you just tuned in, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy and we are standing alongside the Polderbaan, runway 36 left. Currently one of the two runways in use for departures. Together with 36 center, although I think most of the traffic is now coming this way. As you guys can see, it is overcast over here in this part of the Netherlands. Although Rick was already saying that in the north of the Netherlands the sun is starting to come out. It is said that later during the day the sun will come out in the rest of the country as well. So we're anxiously waiting for that moment to arrive. This is KLM flight 1127. It is a Boeing 737-800 outbound to Copenhagen. This airplane is 23 years old and had its first flight in May 2000. Easy departure there, taking enough time and runway length to get airborne, not climbing too steeply. Hey there Haroon, hey there Yanis, good morning to you both. Hope you're doing well. All other viewers who have joined us in the meantime, welcome to you too. Feel free, if you're new to the channel, feel free to interact with us. Say hi in the chat. If you have questions, ask them. Friendly folk over here. There's always someone who will be able to answer any questions that you might be having. So if you cute coots, no cootlings. Haven't seen any birds with young ones over here so far. Did see them in the canal next to the Kaagbaan the other day. At the moment it is still about 12 degrees Celsius or 54 degrees Fahrenheit approximately, and the wind is blowing from the north 8 knots. These airplanes take off into the north, so they are faced with basically headwind. Obviously the wind direction varies from moment to moment, but on average it is coming from the north. So on average they are having headwind. Hey there Sander, goeiemorgen, good morning. This is Aer Lingus flight 603. It is an Airbus A320 going to Dublin, Ireland. This airplane is 17 years old and had its first flight in December 2005. So even though it is overcast, you guys can see you can follow the airplanes relatively long still. Although it is vanishing into the clouds right now. That's a good moment for us to turn around the camera, because behind me the 737 to Göteborg is already spooling up and is already on the roll. So KLM 737-800 outbound to Gothenburg in Denmark. MW2 DMZ. DMZ, isn't that demilitarized zone? So I'm assuming MW2 is a game of sorts. But that's the only thing I can deduce with what I know. Here we have KLM flight 1179. It is an Embraer 175 going to Linköping. The airplane is 5 years old, had its first flight in November 2017. Now I'm happy to report that we are awaiting another A330 from KLM, no less, not even Delta, going to Houston, Texas. I think we are going to see it in a minute. Well, there we go. Let me take this moment to look further out. We're also awaiting an Air Baltic A220 going to Riga, standard livery. Also behind it one to Tallinn, also standard livery. Modern warfare. There you go. That is of the Call of Duty series, I think. Well, you take care of your appointment, Rick. See you later, alligator. Hopefully everything at the vet will be going smoothly. Hey there, Chris. Good morning. Now there's also a 777 to Lima on the move, but it is taxiing to the south. That can mean two things. It's going to take off from center, or it is going around the southern threshold of center and will be coming up north again on the left hand side, on the west side of center, meaning it will take off from Polderban, where we are standing at. We'll find out soon enough. First we'll see the departure of this A330 KLM flight 661, Airbus A330-300, destination Houston, Texas. The airplane is 11 years old and had its first flight in February 2012. Hey there, William, good morning. Welcome to the stream, hope you're doing well. Hopefully you're having more sunshine over there than we do over here. So the meteorological summer should have begun 2 days ago or 3 days ago. What is it? Beginning of this month. But it is a bit fall like over here. But at least it's dry and not too windy. Two Airbus A320s coming this way. First one to Riga, the second to Tallinn, both in the standard livery. So the first A320, which is going to Riga, is taxiing to the runway threshold. And the second one is showing itself right now. This one going to Tallinn. Bird control vehicle also visible just now. So this is Air Baltic flight 618, Airbus A320 going to Riga. The airplane is 5 years old, first flight November 2017. And by the looks of it, a Dreamliner landing in the background. Beautiful machines and also very, very quiet. And thanks, Chris. And no, not what is there that we should know about the Transavia from Antalya? Is something up? Engine failure, medical emergency. Alrighty then, next up Air Baltic flight 858, another Airbus A320, standard livery, going to Tallinn. This one brand new, first flight August last year, so it's less than 1 year old. And in the background we saw the Dreamliner 787-10. And in the meantime I'm seeing the 777 to Lima taxiing on the left hand side of center, so it is coming this way. It is about to make the turn to come to this runway. So if this A320 hurries up with departing, we should be able to see it coming this way from over here. Ah, okay. Your niece is on that plane. Hey there, Mihai. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. All other viewers who have meanwhile joined us, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. It is Friday morning. We are looking at departures from the Polderbaan. Or runway 36 left. These airplanes are taking off in northerly direction. The wind is also coming from the north, so they are facing headwind. The wind is blowing with 8 knots, but I think it is increasing a little bit. It was blowing with 8 knots, but it might be blowing a bit harder at the moment. Still nothing to write home about. Here we have the 777-200 to Lima coming over here. So that is the pipeline visualized. Let me go ahead and update the ticker because I think both the weather and the runway usage are no longer current. We are seeing parallel departures taking place at the moment. 36 center also being used for departures. Now the latest METAR is saying that the wind is still blowing with 8 knots and temperature is still 12 degrees Celsius. And we haven't seen a lot of we haven't seen any special liveries or a lot of big planes yet, Jorn, so you haven't missed out on a whole lot at the, so far. We are waiting for the exodus to the United States destinations to begin, which typically starts between 10 and 12 a.m. Right, so I updated the ticker. If you're unfamiliar with what it says, it is the weather. It gets updated on average twice per hour, although sometimes just one time per hour if the weather is really stable. 777 is still going to the runway threshold. So if you look in the ticker, you're seeing the date and time, the second and 7:55 Zulu, so that is Greenwich Mean Time. It says 01008 KT, that means that the wind is blowing with 8 knots from direction 010, so that is mostly north. 320 V050 means variable between, that the wind is variable between 320 degrees and 50 degrees. 9999 means visibility 10 kilometers or more. BKN022 means broken clouds at, what is it, 2200 feet, I think it is. Temperature is 12 degrees, dew point is 7 degrees. So that means that the air is also relatively dry. Q is QNH 1023, means the air pressure in hectopascal. No SIG means no significant weather, so nothing in terms of dangerous winds or dangerous precipitation. Now we're waiting for the 777 to enter the runway. It is KLM flight 743. It is a Boeing 777-200 with destination Lima. It is a 200 ER, 19 years old. First flight was in April 2004. And it is now entering the runway. There is also an Embraer 192 Stavanger coming to this part of the airfield. Now I think it is still too far out to go in front of the triple. The triple is already lined up more or less, so it will be taking off first probably. Here we go. Brace yourselves, this might get a little loud. Little puffs of brake dust there as the main landing gear was retracting. They stop the wheels that are spinning before they get fully retracted. And typically when they do that, you see some brake dust getting released, which looks like a puff of smoke. Next up is a KLM Embraer 192 Stavanger, KLM flight 1199. It is a 13-year-old airplane that had its first flight in February 2010. And I count 5 airplanes back to back coming this way. 2 heavies and 3 narrow bodies in their wake. United Triple and a KLM Dreamliner and some small stuff again. And thank you for the kind words, Dominic. Thank you so much. Here we go. Embraer 190 outbound to Stavanger. Alrighty then, let's look at a visualization of the pipeline. In the meantime, a heavy departure from center, but soon enough we'll have our own heavies taking off. The pipeline begins with a United 777-200 to Newark, United flight 71. Hey there Paul and hey there Yorkshire, good morning fellas, good to see you again. Hey there Ina, good morning, good to see you again, hope you're doing well. So you guys are tuning in just in time to see a bit more an increase of the pace. We've had a lot of narrow bodies so far, and oh, it looks like the second heavy got overtaken. Because just now there were 2 heavies leading the pack and 3 narrow bodies behind, but it seems now that the Dreamliner has been overtaken by an Embraer. Probably going to take off as number 2 or maybe even as number 1. We'll see. A race to the start, who is going to take off first. Oh, it might even be the Embraer. It is speeding. It is keeping up the pace. Yeah, I think we might be seeing the Embraer take off first. Right, let's have a look. This is an Embraer 190 from KLM going to Dublin, KLM flight 945. It is a 13-year-old airplane that had its first flight in October 2009. Doing well, Yorkshire. Although my hands do get a little bit cold, as it is only 12 degrees Celsius over here and there is a little bit of wind, but I am wearing my parka, so I am nice and warm otherwise. It doesn't affect camera control so far, but it doesn't feel like summer just yet. Well then, that was the Embraer skipping the line. In the meantime, let's look at the situation back there. 2 heavies, 2 narrow bodies, more is coming this way. A third heavy, a Dreamliner to Bogota is still coming. We're going to see the 777 first. I think we might see those narrow bodies go ahead of the Dreamliner that is also there, but oh no, they are all lining up or taxiing towards the runway threshold, so they will be departing in order that you saw them left to right. So 2 heavies and then 2 narrow bodies. So this is United Airlines Flight 71 outbound to Newark, Boeing 777-200 ER, 22 years old, first flight July 2000. Is it me, or are those engines they look a bit smoky? It is of course a 22-year-old airplane already, but those engines are a bit smoky if you ask me. Anyway, if you're new to the channel but you're liking what you're seeing so far, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. You can turn notifications on so that whenever I go live in the future you get a heads up and can join us for more live streaming action. It also helps me to reach more people like you and me who are also into live streaming aviation content such as this. Next up, KLM Flight 605, Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner outbound to San Francisco. The airplane is a bit younger than the previous one, 3 years old, first flight January 2020. KLM Flight 605 to San Francisco. GE90 versus GEN by or moped. Hey there, good morning Aaron. Nice of you to join us once again on this Friday morning. Now next up we're going to see a duo of narrow bodies and then another Dreamliner, I think. 737 and first an Embraer 190. And yeah, you always see that vortex on rotation, even if it is not very, the air is not very humid. Only when it is really, really dry will you not see that. It's because of those, there are small pieces on those engine casings that stand upright and they cause those vortices. It also has a purpose, but that's all I can tell without getting into speculatory. Lining up ready to go is KLM Flight 1443, Embraer 190 outbound to Aberdeen. This airplane is 13 years old, had its first flight in January 2010. And Notva is now hearing the United pass over the 777. That is really cool. So I'm assuming that you live in the vicinity of Wijk aan Zee then. Hey Vladimir, good morning. Checking in from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Awesome to have viewers in that part of the world as well. Welcome Vladimir and Stephen also checking in again from Ribble Valley. Good morning Stephen, hope you're doing well. Hopefully the weather in Bosnia and in Ribble Valley in the UK is better than it is over here. Although I have to say, having the whole place almost to myself with the exception of 2 people on the bench over there. No people over here, although some work folk have parked their vehicles down the cycling path. I think they are working the sewage. You can see people at the Spottersplatz parking place in the center. That is where the fence is and where the people who go to the regular Spottersplatz can watch the airplanes. So it looks like it is getting a bit more busy over there. In the meantime, Boeing 737 outbound to Manchester is on the move. Hey Wendy, goedemorgen, good morning, good to see you. Ah, Notwa is living in IJmuiden. I figured you must be living in that part of the country, given that the United Triple was going west eventually, was going to go west. So KLM flight 1073, Boeing 737-800 outbound to Manchester is this. 12 years old, first flight May 2011. Now, next up, another Dreamliner. This is KLM flight 747, which is a Boeing 787-900 or 9, going to Bogota in Colombia. The Dreamliner we are seeing is 7 years old and had its first flight in March 2016. Thought I zoomed out a little on this one, because then you can beautifully see the wings elevating during the takeoff and also the flex when they rotate. Hey there 68 Twig, good morning, welcome back, good to see you, hope you're doing well. Now, next up is going to be a Dreamliner from American Airlines, going to Dallas-Fort Worth in Texas. There we go, American Airlines flight 221. Now the pipeline is filling nicely. Let's have a look. Okay, so this EasyJet airplane might be going first. What else is in the pipeline? Ah, it is our first Delta A330. How about that? So we're streaming now for an hour and 15 minutes and this is the first A330 from Delta. How about that? Is that the chocolate livery German Airways? It is another Airbus. Another Embraer. Embraer, sorry. Keep mixing those up. Looks like another heavy coming this way. Right, well, first up, American Airlines flight 221. I think. Yeah, the EasyJet is also taxiing to the runway threshold, so they are all going to go in order that they are arriving on the platform, or this part of the platform at least. Ooh, and Renee is saying that it is still dark in the Florida Panhandle, and it is sick, but yeah, there's a 6-hour time difference, isn't there? So even in this time of year, also because you're more to the south, so the day length does not increase as much in the run-up to the summer as it does over here more northerly, on the more northerly latitude. But it probably won't be long before the sun will start to illuminate the sky again in the Florida Panhandle, I think. Indeed, Barb's, good sounds, good sounds. So this was American Airlines flight 221 to Dallas. Next, EasyJet, I think. Ah, and it was LOT, that was the other Embraer. But now looking, it seems, yeah. I think this one will be taking off first. EasyJet flight 22922. Airbus A320 outbound Bristol. A330-300, 9 years old. First flight January 2014. Oh, no kidding. So, Central Time Zone, it's even earlier there. Holy cow. So if my topography, if my memory still serves me well, then that is the northwestern part of the state, more towards Georgia. If I'm saying something stupid right now, please forgive me. It has been ages ago since I had topography and was still in high school, which is, I think, the last period of my life that I was more obligated to learn topography. For a moment I thought that the nose wheel was stuck, but it was just a bit slow to retract. For a moment it looked like it was sticking. I guess it doesn't. Alright, Paul, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the castle visit in Loosdrecht later today. We'll hear from you during one of the later streams how it was. I'm curious. Loosdrecht, beautiful place. So Embraer 175 from LOT for Polish Airlines, going to Warsaw. The airplane, 17 years old, first flight May 2006. Let me look into the topography of the state of Florida when I get home. I'm curious now. But thanks for the feedback, Renee. Are you up early or still up then? Right, so next up, Delta Airlines flight 135. It is an A330-300 outbound to Detroit. 16 years old, first flight November 2006. Off to Motor City it is. Up early, sleep issues. The other day there was also someone in the stream who was suffering from sleep issues. Seems to be quite prevalent these days. Don't be hesitant to go see your general practitioner if you have structural problems with sleeping. People underestimate the importance of a good night's sleep and how quickly a bad period of sleeping or a period of sleeping poorly can affect your functioning during the day. Hey Remco, goedemorgen. And Mirnov checking in from Istanbul. Good morning. And CFC 1888 is checking in from sunny Scotland, or at least a sunny emoji in your message, so I'm assuming that you guys are having sunshine over there in Scotland, which I'm totally not jealous about. I love being in my winter parka in the beginning of June over here, putting my hands in my pockets to keep them a little bit from freezing. I guess this is what global warming looks like. Nah, just joking. So, Embraer 190 outbound to Billund on its way, KLM. Now, as Jennifer Lopez once had a song called Let's Get Loud, Let Us Get Loud. And let's do that with this Dreamliner 787-10 going to LAX. Hey there Chunky, good morning. Hope you're doing well. If you're still a bit sleepy, then turn on the volume. This is KLM flight 601 outbound to Los Angeles LAX. The airplane is 3 years old. First flight November 2019, and it is a Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner, the biggest of the family. Well, Renee, I'm happy that I can provide you some midnight entertainment. Thanks for your kind words, and it's an honor that you are with us, as is the case for all other viewers who have joined us in the meantime. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Let us enjoy some more outbound air traffic. This one is also going to be loud. It is another Delta A330-300 from Amsterdam to Atlanta. Delta Airlines Flight 71. The airplane we're looking at, 19 years old, had its first flight in September 2003. And greetings to you, Paul McKenna, who is checking in from Causeway Coast in Northern Ireland. Hopefully you guys are having more sunshine over there than we do over here. Now it is said that the sun is starting to come out from behind the clouds later during the day. And earlier, one of our moderators, Rick, who is now away again, but he reported that the sun was already starting to come out in the north. So that's a good reason to be optimistic, because the wind is also blowing from the north at the moment. So sunny weather should be coming this way. If I show you guys the big picture, this is looking to the north from over here. You see it is overcast. If I turn to the left and point the camera to the west, you see things are the same. All around it is the same. If I show you the chimney smoke further out in Westport area near Amsterdam, you can see that the smoke is more or less coming this way a little bit and also moving from left to right. Basically parallel to the runway and the canal that I'm standing next to. Now I do see motorcyclists on the cycling path. Could they be police? I think they are. Yep, they are police officers. Doing a patrol on the motorcycle. Now, also some vehicles further out checking out stuff. I have no idea what they are doing. They aren't bird controllers, because they would be recognizable by their pickup trucks. Now let us not forget the air traffic. SAS Neo. Now in the meantime, the vehicles that I pointed the camera to just now are moving over here. Don't know if they are doing maintenance or anything. Well, I'm not happy to hear that, Francis. Apparently in Dover it is also cloudy. Is it set to get better during the day? Because that is at least the silver lining over here, that we have something to look forward to. It should get more sunny later during the day over here, although they said that yesterday too. And while I have seen a few moments of sunshine, on average it was still very much cloudy and a bit chilly day. So this is a Boeing 737-900 from KLM flight 1009 outbound to London Heathrow. Okay, so that's comparable with what is predicted for today over here then, Paul. Cloudy in the morning, the sun should come out later during the day. Well, doesn't look like it's opening up just yet, although I do get the impression that it is getting a bit lighter, so probably the clouds are thinning out a little bit. Now obscured, semi-obscured by vehicles in the foreground, we are seeing the, oh my god, it is KLM but it's not, SLM flight to Paramaribo, flight 993, Airbus A330-300, absolutely lazy redo of an old KLM airplane, obviously. Going to Paramaribo in Suriname, the airplane is 12 years old, first flight was in September 2010. Okay, so Elske, you guys in Antwerp are expecting similar weather conditions later during the day as we do over here. Now, I think that the sun is supposed to come out from the north, so far over here I don't see anything that looks like opening up of the clouds. Matthijs is saying that the sun is now starting to come out in Brummen. Okay, interesting. So maybe a different pattern than from the north only. While the Ryanair 737 is waiting for clearance from center, we see a triple that has just taken off. Alright, Ryanair is on the move. Let's go back to our runway then. Ryanair flight 421, Boeing 737-800 outbound to Dublin, Ireland. The airplane is 18 years old already and had its first flight in September 2004. And Quinten, no, on Wednesdays I have my day job that I need to attend to. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are days that I am unable to go out for spotting. Now, this week I'm a bit busy. Yesterday I had to stay home because my dishwasher broke and the new one I ordered was getting delivered yesterday. So had to stay home to take delivery of the dishwasher plus also install it. And also, earlier in the week, my neighbor came to me and said, I am busy with fixing up the garden. I'm also looking to fix up the fence between our gardens. And obviously I said, well, let me just help you with that. So we're also busy with renewing that. The poles are now all level and evenly spaced, so we can start with the planks and finishing everything up tonight and tomorrow. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going to go out tomorrow. I think we might be working on the fence most of the day. And after it's done, it's good for another decade or so at least, hopefully. So this is Delta Airlines flight 143 A330-300 outbound to Seattle. This Airbus is 6 years old and had its first flight in January 2017. Nice growling triple there, taking off from center in the meantime. It has to be one of those 200s that are a bit older. Now you don't hear it anymore as well. Before it made its turn, it made that really low growl that you hear on those 200s. So Ina is having better weather over in Laan Valley than we do over here. More sun, warmer temperatures by the looks of it. And Aaron is flying to Tenerife from Brussels tomorrow with Brussels Airlines. What kind of airplane are you going to fly to Tenerife? Last week we saw that TUI was operating Dreamliners just because of the increase in people wanting to go there. Will you be flying on a narrow body or a wide body? Oh, an A320. Awesome. Okay then, Sander is going to check for some silk screens for t-shirt design. Awesome. Well, if that means you're going to leave us, good luck with the zeefdrukken. And we'll see each other again sometime soon, undoubtedly. Oh, okay, yeah, if you're 1 meter 90 then, but then most airplanes suck if they don't have business class. It is a good reason to always fly business. Expensive though. It's on the brink of still being doable, but do make sure that you walk up and down the airplane a couple of times, because it is still almost a 4-hour flight to the Canary Islands. Ah, excellent. Yeah, you need extra leg room. I'm 180 and I already feel cramped when sitting in a 737 from Transavia. Always happy if the seat next to me is vacant so that I can stretch my legs a little. Now the upside of the grass being cut here is that you can see birds on this side of the water better since. So these coots, or at least this coot, would be able to hide behind the grass until recently, but now we can see them all. No, Maurice, I'm not going to be there when you take off to Nairobi, unfortunately. I will wrap it up around 12:30 to 1 o'clock or something. depending on the flow of air traffic, if it really gets slow, then I might pull the plug earlier. You typically see it slow down a little bit around 12 p.m. I think, Aaron, it is a bit early indeed. I don't think I will be around to wave to you. September 1st, which day of the week is it? So there are a few heavies coming this way. Look at what we are looking at right now is a 7879 Dreamliner from KLM. We also have a Dreamliner from American to Philadelphia. Behind it there is another A330 from Delta coming this way. Now I don't know yet about tomorrow, Peter. As I was saying, the neighbor and me are also busy renewing our fence between our yards. And my neighbor has a typical 9 to 5, so last couple of days we were only able to do a few hours of work in the evening. I think tomorrow we're going to try to get it done. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going out tomorrow. Well, more police than visitors. Think that's well, we already had the 2 motorcyclists, now a car patrolling. American Dreamliner to Philadelphia, moving to the runway threshold. And let's visualize the pipeline a little. Delta Airlines A330. And further out, Boeing 767-300 from TUI. Going to BJV. That is Bodrum. Ah, Turkey. Bodrum is Turkey, right? Yeah, I think it is. Pretty sure it is. Right, so what is coming behind that? Looks like EasyJet. Can I zoom in more? Nope. This is most I can zoom in with optical zoom. EasyJet, KLM. Alright, looking at flight radar. Ooh, Delta A332 Atlanta also on the move. Right, quickly back to the runway action. So American Airlines flight 203, Boeing 7878 Dreamliner outbound to Philadelphia. And the Dreamliner we are now looking at is 3 years old and had its first flight in February 2020. Dankjewel Peter. Gaat vast goed komen. Measure everything twice, thrice perhaps. And then drilling and screwing in the nails. RVS. Make sure that it's not going to rust away as happened with the old fans, without giving a lot of effort. You could easily rip the planks from the poles. They didn't use stainless steel. Right, this is Delta Airlines Flight 161, Airbus A330-300. She's going to Minneapolis and the airplane is 15 years old, had its first flight in August 2007. Oh. Don't trip over your tripod legs. Right, let us turn around the camera because we have a 767 coming this way. TUI fly to Bodrum. Now we don't get to see them that much anymore, so it's always nice to see one of the older airplanes. TUI flight 3105 going to Bodrum. It is a 767-300ER. She's 23 years old and first flight was in February 2000. If you just tuned in, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. We are standing alongside Polderbaan, runway 36 left, currently one of the two runways, or perhaps it is the only runway again in use for departures on this Friday morning. As you guys can see, it is overcast over here. No rain is expected for today. It is said that the sun is starting to come out later during the day. So far we haven't seen it yet. At the moment it is about 12 degrees Celsius or 54 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind is blowing from the north and about 8 knots or so. These airplanes are taking off to the north, so they are faced with mostly headwind. And Peter asks the Boeing 7879 what the 9 means. It is just an indication of the specific type. And just like with the Boeing 737, you have the 700, which is a small fuselage, and the 800 is a bit bigger, and the 900 is yet a bit bigger. The original Dreamliner was the 7878. Then they made a little bigger one. They called it the 9. And likewise, the 78710 is the biggest of them all. So it is an indication of the airplane, and typically a higher number means that the airplane is bigger. Hey there, Dominic, asking when the summer holidays in the Netherlands start. That's a very good question. And since I am not in school and don't have any children that are going to school, I cannot tell you the answer from memory. I would have to look that up myself. I think Google will be your friend in that respect. I think it starts somewhere in July, but take that with a grain of salt. Thank you for that update, Maurice. Mid-July. And then typically 6 to 8 weeks around the end of August, beginning of September, typically the summer holiday ends again. Alrighty then. Next up, Speedbird, flight 437, outbound London Heathrow. Now let's have a look. We have the first CRJ of the day, I think. I think it is the first. SAS, flight 552, going to Copenhagen in Denmark. This airplane, 14 years old. First flight December 2008. Right. Lining up right now is another Delta Airbus A330-300. Flight 73, outbound to Atlanta. This airplane is 18 years old and had its first flight in March 2005. Alright, let's have a look. Boeing 737 is lining up. It is Air Europa flight 1098, Boeing 737-800, going to Madrid in Spain. The airplane is 13 years old and had its first flight in September 2009. Good question there, Dominic, asking if I have any holiday plans for this year yet. I don't, actually. I did only go on a skiing trip once this year in January. So I am getting a bit of withdrawals already. So I was thinking about maybe in fall going for a long weekend to one of the glaciers in the Alps that are more or less always snowy. just to get my fix again, so I can wait it out until the actual winter season starts again. Other than that, I don't have any plans or ideas just yet. Typically not much of a summer holiday goer. So Air Europa flying the 737 today instead of the Dreamliner. You do see them flying a Dreamliner more regularly. So this is more or less the exception. Now we have a bit of heavies coming this way again. First a 737 and an Embraer 190. After that we are going to see another A330, an A321. I think there's also a 777 to Quito coming this way. First up, this Boeing 737-800 going to Stockholm. KLM flight 1109, Boeing 737-800. This airplane is 15 years old, had its first flight in March 2008. Depending on how busy the air traffic is, CACTUS probably between 12:30 and 1. But if it is getting quiet earlier, I might call it sooner. Depends a little bit on how the flow of air traffic this way will be around that time. I have seen it slowing down around 12 regularly. This is KLM flight 1855, Embraer 190 outbound to Düsseldorf. If I'm still around CACTUS, I am looking forward to seeing you again, and if not later today, then we'll see each other probably again during one of the upcoming streams in the future. Here we have an A330 going to Kigali, A330-300, 17 years old, first flight August 2005. Now Dominic asks what my favorite airplane is. His is the rare A340-600. They are really beautiful to see, really long. I think they are the longest airplane that there is. I think they're even a bit longer than the 7478, but I'm not completely sure about that. But they are close. The 747 is my personal favorite as insofar as all-time passenger, modern passenger airplanes. I think the A350 and the A220 are my favorites. And I think if you also include military airplanes, that I think that the F-14 Tomcat is my favorite military aircraft. Although the F-16 is also really nice. Okay, Luther corrects me and says that the 7478 is just a bit longer than, but they are close. That I know for sure. Air France A321 outbound to Paris Charles de Gaulle, flight 1341. This airplane is 14 years old, had its first flight in February 2009. And herzlich willkommen, Hans Joachim, checking in from North Germany. Good to see you, hope you're doing well. Hopefully you guys are having more sunshine over there than we do over here. In the north of the Netherlands, it was starting to get sunny earlier in the morning already. So far over here, it's still overcast, although here and there the sky does look to get a bit thinner. And Peter, if you look at airplanes long enough, you start to recognize them very easily. You'll see all the nuances. Practice makes perfect, and if you practice long enough, you'll start seeing it completely. Okay, and Bremen is completely sunny already, so do share some sunshine with your western neighbors in Amsterdam area at least. Over here it is still overcast, but at least it's dry. I guess that's something. This is an A320neo going to Split. Now this is a brand new airplane that had its first flight in December last year. So it is still under warranty and only a few months old. And neo means new. New. But in this context it is just a brand name. 777 time, ladies and gentlemen. It is Boeing 777-200, KLM flight 755 going to Quito. The airplane is 16 years old. It's a 200 ER. First flight was in January 2007. Listen to that growl. Nicely see the condensation occurring over the or around the engine inlets due to the low pressure, I think it is. Hey there, Mario, good morning. Is it still morning? Yeah, it is still morning. At least here in mainland Europe it is still morning. Ah, Luther dove into the details and came up with the specific specifications. So yeah, it is just a meter difference then. Check it out. Yorkshire also diving into the books, coming up with more background information. I love it. Thank you so much, you guys. Keep asking those questions, folks. If you have questions, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Feel free to interact with all the people. As you can see, people are very friendly over here. So don't be shy and say hi if you're new. If you're liking what you're seeing, consider subscribing to the channel. It helps you and it helps me. You can turn on notifications so that whenever I go live in the future, you get a notification. And if you have the time for it, you can join us for more live streaming action. And you help me reach a wider public of people that are also into live stream aviation content such as this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. It is an A350 and it is coming this way. But it is not just any A350, this is Singapore Airlines going to Singapore. So it is one of the prettiest airplanes and one of the prettiest liveries, arguably. Not everybody will agree, obviously, but I think a lot of people will agree that this is a nice livery and a nice airplane. Still a bit out, it is underway. Gives me a moment to take a sip of water. I have no plans yet, Luther. I typically go out for streaming between Thursdays and Mondays. So I suppose I will be doing the same around September, unless the weather is really poopy, to say it in a somewhat family-friendly manner. If you're unfamiliar with Schiphol and you're wondering, hey, what is this thing? It is the airplane, the ATC control tower that is dedicated for this runway. If you look on a map, you will see that the runway we are standing next to, the Polderbaan, runway 36 left or 18 right, is the furthest removed from the main platform area. And the original Schiphol ATC control tower is over there in the distance. Now you can imagine if you are sitting in there and you have to look at what is going on over here, it is really hard to see, even under conditions such as today when the visibility on ground level is still reasonably okay. So that is why they built a dedicated ATC control tower just for this runway over here. Now, as we are waiting for the Singapore Airlines A350, we can also do a little bit of spying in the control tower. I just re-enabled digital zoom, so we can do a little bit of spying. Now let me also fixate the tripod to reduce the vibrations from the wind as much as I can. So as there's no traffic taking off right now, they are probably on a coffee break. Good for them. Hey there, Richard. Good day. Good morning. Still, just about. Nice of you to join us. Züge in Deutschland is saying that there's another Delta A330 on pushback for Boston. Let's look at flight radar. See what else is moving. Delta Airlines A330 to New York JFK is alive on the platform. A330 to Boston, A330 to Portland, Oregon. The A350 from China Airlines to Taipei is also active. Now I'm not sure if it is moving. We'll see soon enough. So this is Singapore Airlines flight 323, Airbus A350-900, outbound to Singapore. Now this airplane is 5 years old and had its first flight in October 2017. And no, Koenie, you didn't miss any quad engines. I wish we'd seen some, but no queens. No, and the king is still out, still needs to land over here. Right, well, for the time being we'll have to wait again for the next airplanes to come this way. Let me have a look on the baangebruik app. Okay, current runway conditions, 36 left and center are both used for departures according to the app that shows the current runway usage. And yes, Luther, I do speak a little bit of German. I have been going on winter holidays in Austria since I was little, so you do pick up some of the language over the years. So yeah, next is going to be an A319 from Croatia Airlines to Zagreb. Now, it is still on the main platform area. It should be coming this way from over here. But it still has to cross runway 36 center. Sehr cool. Super toll. Vielleicht. Delta A330 to Portland is on pushback. And service to you, Peter. Although that is more a greeting used in the south of Germany and also in Austria predominantly, if I did my homework correctly. And Dominic asks if I know if the reactivated A380 from Etihad will come to Schiphol. I have absolutely no idea, Dominic. It would be nice if more A380s would come to Schiphol. We did have more back in the day, a few years ago. At the moment, the only A380 that comes this way is the daily flight from Emirates. And there is the Croatia Airlines A319 to Zagreb. Still needs to taxi a bit. It will be coming this way. Let's have a look on what's going on the platform. Looks like the A330 to Boston is on the move already, so it will be coming after the Croatia Airlines Airbus. It looks like the A330 to Portland is also pushed back. If Flight Radar is correct, it doesn't look to be on the gate, attached to a gate anymore. So I think that might also be coming this way. Ooh, that's a nice outlook, Peter. Going to California tomorrow. Enjoy your stay over there. And thanks for joining. And thanks for the good luck wishes. I'm sure it's just a matter of measuring everything out properly Measure twice or thrice before putting in any nails. Hopefully we'll see each other again during one of the upcoming streams. And Sander is happy with the result of his first t-shirt screen. Awesome, man. Is that a hobby of yours or a side hustle? Now, I think there are a few Delta A330s about to come this way as well. In the meantime, the A319 from Croatia Airlines has appeared on this side of the platform, and I think it might be going for the first exit entrance that isn't the runway threshold. Now we can see it is in the Star Alliance livery. This is Croatia Airlines flight 451, Airbus A319 in the Star Alliance livery, destination Zagreb. This airplane is a bit older, 24 years old, had its first flight in May 1999. Hey there, Michael, checking in just now. Welcome back, good to see you again, hope you're doing well. For now I intend to stick around until 12:30 to 1 p.m. or so, depending on the busyness of the outbound traffic. So my plan is to stay for an hour to 1.5 hours still, but it is going to depend on the flow of air traffic, which does occasionally slow down around 12. So we'll see where we'll end. Let's see, I think the Delta A330 to Boston is going to become visible shortly. It is ready to cross runway 36 center. What's that in the distance? Oh, that is the Garuda retro livery triple, I think. Let's re-enable digital zoom and have a closer look. I think it is... Yep, that is the Garuda Airlines 777-300 special livery, the retro livery. It says Republik Indonesia on the side. Alright, let's go back to just having optical zoom. Let's have a look. The Delta A332 Boston should become visible from behind that building on the left in a moment. Let me also fixate the tripod because of the wind. You will otherwise have more vibrations. Now, according to flight radar, the A330 is now crossing the runway. Looking further back, the Delta A332 Portland is also on the move. A lot of movement. Also some small stuff on the move. Delta A330 to Istanbul, that might take off from center if it is still open. Here is the A332 Boston. Traffic is coming this way, but it is a bit slow at the moment. And Michael will be coming next week or when? To visit from Aachen. And Bryce says, I'm flying home today from Schiphol with Iceland Air 737 MAX around 5 o'clock p.m. Not too long ago we saw the Iceland Air, one of the Iceland Air's 767-300 ERs aborting their takeoff and having to go back to the gate. Apparently there was something wrong with engine number 1. One of the people on board reached out later and confirmed that. They did all fly back home safely, I think a day later, or maybe later in the day, but they did have to go back to the gate first because they couldn't fix it on the spot. Now, interestingly enough, the Delta A330 Portland is taxiing to the south, so I guess they are getting diverted around the runway 36 center instead of being allowed to cross it, as this A330 did just now. Züge in Deutschland is saying that Delta A330 to JFK is also on pushback. So yeah, indeed, we are going to see a A330 rush hour. Although we do have to wait a little bit before the airplanes that are pushed back will be taking off over here. This runway, Polderbaan, the latest addition to the network of runways, is the furthest removed, and I think it is one of the furthest removed runways from a main platform area of an airport in the world, period. So the airplanes will have to taxi 10-15 minutes at least, but it can increase up to 20 minutes in some cases. The reason that the A330 to Portland is diverted around the runway and not allowed to cross it is because they have started using 36 center again for departures. They don't want to disturb that flow. (737) Looking back at the main platform area, nothing to see yet. But looking on flight radar, there are several airplanes on the move. But we will have to wait a little bit after the departure of the current A330 that is near the runway threshold. Hey there Wilma, goedemorgen, good morning. It is still morning. I do get the impression that it is opening up a little bit. So maybe we will start seeing some sunshine after all this afternoon. This is Delta Airlines Flight 259, Airbus A330-300, outbound to Boston, Massachusetts. And this airplane is 8 years old and had its first flight in April 2015. We have another one. One of those Delta Airlines A330s that will not retract its landing gear right away. They need some cooling apparently. Now will we be able to see the landing gear retract before it vanishes into the clouds? The upside of no traffic immediately behind this airplane is that we can follow it as long as we want. Probably as long as the clouds allow us to follow it. I think this is where we're going to lose it. I think it is in the clouds now. Gone. Most of the time, Aaron, it has to do with heating issues and they need to air cool the brakes. I think it's the brakes that typically need cooling before they retract the landing gear. It happens on other airplane types as well, but we have seen it often with the Delta A330s. Well, no need to ask what this is. This is a Neo. It says it on the tin. Now, meanwhile, if we focus back on what is happening on the ground, we are able to see the next Delta A330 come this way. This is flight 179. Outbound to Portland, Oregon. And goedemorgen photo for you, who is informing us that around 2 p.m. those clouds should be gone. Now let's have a look. I'm curious to see what the Turkish A330 to Istanbul is going to do. Will they let it leave from Polderbaan or will they send it off from center? And I've been wondering exactly the same photo for you. How can those brakes get very warm unless they drive with the brakes applied constantly? Hey Mats, goedemorgen. Good morning. Long time no speak indeed. I was planning on going out yesterday initially, but I got caught up with other things, such as waiting for the delivery guy to bring a new dishwasher and installing the dishwasher, and also working on a new fence with the neighbor. So we see the Turkish A330 to Istanbul moving away from us. If flight radar is accurate, it looks to be on the taxiway that leads to the runway of, or the threshold of 36 center. So I guess it is going to take off from center. Meanwhile, going around the southern threshold of 36 Center is a British Airways A322 London Heathrow, an EasyJet A320neo to London Stansted. We also have an Embraer 190 to Aberdeen that is going in that same direction. And a Delta A332 New York JFK is also on the move. So there's definitely movement on the platform. It's just not back-to-back action, but we're certainly not done with heavy outbounds over here. Hey there, Lance, good morning. Just about still over here at least. The moment still overcast, as you guys can see. Also not too warm. 12 degrees Celsius, 54 degrees Fahrenheit approximately. It is set to improve in the afternoon. But I am of the opinion I'll see it before I'll believe it. Right, so this is Delta Airlines Flight 179, Airbus A330-300 outbound to Portland, Oregon. And it is a 19-year-old airplane that had its first flight in March 2004. Well, at least this A330 has no issues with landing gear retraction, no heating issues that need cooling first. Hey there, Amelie, good morning still. Good to see you again, hope you're doing well. Well, I think we have our answer. The Turkish A330 to Istanbul just took to the sky from center. Or at least answer, we have our confirmation. And hey there, Michael Painter, who has a tea break between painting. Always good to have an occasional tea break. And stop doing what you're doing. A photo for you is saying that the wind will be in the north to northeast area, coming from the north to northeast until June 12th. So yeah, we'll have an entire month then of Polderbaan departures and Kaagwaan arrivals. More of the same, but at least you can vary between the runways and the type of traffic, inbound, outbound. Polderbaan, Kaagwaan. So at the moment there are 3 narrow bodies coming this way. The first one becoming visible, Speedbird. A320 to London Heathrow. Flight 431. It's being followed by an airplane that I don't immediately recognize as being EasyJet. That's because it isn't. So where is the EasyJet Neo then? Is it ahead? Huh, interesting. Okay, I see it now. Yeah. Here we have the EasyJet A320 Neo going to London Stansted, and what we see over here is an airplane that is operating for KLM. Embraer 190 outbound to Aberdeen, although it is apparently a rental. Doesn't look like German Airways either. Don't see any chocolate cakes on the outside, so... Right, let's have a look. I think the A320 to London Heathrow is going to take off first. The Neo seems to be going to the runway threshold. Right, so this is Speedbird Flight 431, Airbus A320 going to London Heathrow. The airplane is 9 years old, had its first flight in May 2014. Right, next up will be the A320 Neo from EasyJet, outbound to London Stansted, or... okay, so I suppose this is an airplane that isn't visible on flight radar then, because I don't see any departures at the moment. So I guess I was also mistaken with assigning this the A3 Embraer 190 to Aberdeen. So if anybody has any idea what this airplane is and where it's going to, do let me know. It doesn't show on flight radar at least. Now this one does show on flight radar. EasyJet flight 27839 A320 Neo outbound to London Stansted. The airplane is 3 years old, had its first flight in October 2019. Okay, but then then I understand why I didn't see the airplane on Flight Radar, because I only have an outbound Amsterdam filter applied. So if it says an A, then obviously it becomes invisible, but also no background details apparently. This is Delta Airlines Flight 47. We'll be going to New York JFK in a moment, but not before we are going to see this KLM Embraer that is going to go to Aberdeen. Flight 1445, Embraer 190. Nine-year-old airplane that had its first flight in February 2014. CACTUS Jack Airlines. Alright then, never heard of it. Hey there Jono, good afternoon, or perhaps it is morning still where you are at. Over here it is just afternoon. Just became PM 12:03. Delta Airlines Flight 47, Airbus A330-300, outbound New York JFK. Six-year-old airplane, first flight June 2016. I wonder too, Elske. CACTUS Jack Airlines. It almost sounds like a joke. Is it a commercial? Is the commercial party? Right, now we need to look out a bit further to see what is coming next. This looks like a triple. That looks like a Dreamliner. And it is a triple and a Dreamliner. More heavies are underway. A330neo to New York JFK is also on the move, so it looks like we are going to see a few more heavies in a few moments. Now if you're new to the channel, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. We're standing alongside the Polderbaan. This is runway 36 left, currently one of the two runways in use for departures. As you guys can see, it is overcast. It is set to get better during the rest of the day, but I have to see it to believe it. In the meantime, we have our friendly neighborhood, the police, going back on their patrol round. We already saw the motorcyclists earlier. And as you guys can see, it is overcast. The wind is blowing from the north to northeast. Photo for you was already mentioning it. It has been the case for 2 weeks now, and it is going to stay that way for more days to come. I'm now pointing the camera to the northeast, and you can see that the smoke from the chimneys that are in the Amsterdam Westport area is blowing towards us. So there is a little bit of crosswind from the right for the pilots taking off. This runway is oriented north-south, so Little bit of crosswind from the right. In terms of birds in the water, not a whole lot going on. I think this is a coot that we are seeing. It looks like it is solid. No, it's not solitary. There's a second one. Now ducks, I did see them once earlier in the stream, but no longer have I seen them in the last hour or so. In the meantime, the first of the next batch of heavies is lining up in the distance. So let's have a look and see. This is KLM flight 691, Boeing 777-200 going to Toronto in Canada. This airplane is a 200 ER, 17 years old already. First flight was in April 2006. I guess we'll be hearing a nice growl. No issues with heating, unlike the Delta A330 that we saw earlier. Unfortunately, we were unable to follow it as it at a certain point entered the clouds, but by the time it did, it still had its landing gear fully deployed. No time to linger too long. Next up, TUI flight 379, it is a Boeing 7878 going to Curaçao in Willemstad. This airplane, 8 years old, first flight March 2015. And again, a beautiful comparison. GE90 just now versus GENX on the Dreamliner. Similar yet different. And Ina asks, until when am I going to be around? Because your friend is leaving for Vancouver at 3:20 p.m. Well, I'm sticking around until 12:30 to 1 p.m. After that, I am going to go back home again, and it depends a little bit on how busy it is in terms of air traffic. If it gets really quiet earlier already, then I might call it quits sooner. Ah, damn it. 777 to Dubai takes off from the other runway. Not unexpected, but meanwhile, over at our runway, quote unquote our runway, you can already see the big engines. This is an E2 Embraer 195. KLM flight 1187, outbound to Bergen in Norway. The airplane 1 year old, first flight October 2021. Where's the Cathay 747 approximately photo for you? Still out at the CAG? Omgeving Leiden or closer by already? so extremely quiet, those E2s. Oh, Cathay Pacific is still in the vicinity of Alpha aan de Rijn and is flying. No, wait, that's a triple. Where's the 747? Huh. Well, Nezzy, I can check if they're around, but unfortunately the ducks are no longer in the vicinity. I did see them once during the stream, but at the moment over here it is awfully quiet, as you can see in the water. Now let me also quickly, totally forgot to update the data bundle. And we're still in the clear, still not over 3 hours yet, so should still be in the clear, but let me do a little upgrade regardless. But not before we are seeing this airplane. Delta Airlines Flight 49 A330 Neo outbound to New York JFK. The airplane is 2 years old, had its first flight in September 2020. Alrighty then. Let's see. Now I don't see any traffic immediately in the vicinity, so let's have a look. Doesn't seem to be happening a lot, so is that an E2 as well? No, it looks like a regular one. Alright, Let's have a look. Can we see anything coming this way? There should be an Embraer 190 to Oslo coming this way. Should become visible. Well, there you go. As we speak. And YouTube Sam says 2 A350 on their way to the Polderbaan. Well, one of them has been on flight radar for a while now. The one to Taipei. I think it is still stationary and it's not going to come anytime soon. They probably have their transponder on. It has been on for a while now. But the A350 to Helsinki is indeed taxiing. It is bringing us together since 1923 livery. Wow, just some text added to the regular livery by the looks of it. If I look at the pictures on flight radar, but there's some additional text on the A350 from Finnair. Now, is it certain that the A350 from Finnair is coming this way? Will it not take off from center? Because that makes a lot of sense, being a destination lying to the east of the Netherlands, to also take the easternmost runway in use for departures. Unless they are going to close 36 Center again. But this airplane shows that they haven't done so just yet. And there's the Finnair A350 going to the south. Now it does seem to be on the taxiway to go around the center runway and not to the runway itself. In the meantime, a Boeing 737 to Vienna is going to take off, and our Embraer to Oslo is also getting closer by. Entering the runway on the first entrance that isn't the runway threshold. So this is KLM flight 1145. It is an Embraer 190, destination Oslo. The airplane is 12 years old and had its first flight in August 2010. Hey there Amy, good morning. Nice of you to join us again. Hope you're doing well. Now, looks like it is opening up a little bit over here. You can see that the sun is still hiding behind the clouds, but it is looking a bit brighter now than it did earlier during the morning. Doesn't look like it's going to be full out sun just yet, but we might start seeing some sunshine later in the upcoming hours. Now we're waiting for our next airplane, and that is an A350 from Finnair, outbound to Helsinki, which is now just about turning around the southern threshold of runway 36 Center. At the moment nothing on 36 center, so I'm a bit surprised that they let the airplane taxi all the way around it instead of just letting it cross over. Or at least I don't see any traffic on flight radar that is taking off from center. Hey Kathleen, late as usual, but stopping in to say hi. Well, I mean, it is still really early over there where you are living, so no surprise there. We can't all be night owls all the time. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Exactly 6:23 a.m. So I was still in bed around that time over here this morning. A photo for you says that it looks like the Cactus Jack Airlines Embraer could go to Manchester. But Cactus Air, I thought I saw a registration with N, so an American registration. Cactus Air doesn't it normally operate on the other side of the Atlantic? Or I've never heard of it, Cactus Jack Airlines. It really almost sounds like a joke. Cactus Jack. Well, maybe I'm just thinking about Captain Jack or Captain Jack Sparrow then, but yeah, that's just my associative crazy mind. Meanwhile, we should be able to see the A350 from Finnair in a minute or so. It is getting closer by. And we should be able to pick it up over there as it comes this way. Now I think it will be coming from the right, because it has to go north first, so that is to the left in our view. Yeah, there you go. Then it's going to make a left-hand turn, come over here. Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining us for a brief moment on your tea break. Best of luck with the rest of your painting work. And we'll catch each other again at a later stream, undoubtedly. And if not this weekend, then have a great weekend and see you again sometime soon. So this is our next airplane. It is something of a special livery, if you can call it that. There's some additional text on the back of the fuselage. Although it isn't really... It's a special livery like the A320 Neos from EasyJet, where it says Neo on the tin. If you can call that a special livery, then this one is a special livery as well. Good morning, Jets for Fun, checking in from Washington DC. Welcome to AMS Live, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Boy, and we are now waiting for this Finnair A350 to come this way. We're standing next to the Polderbaan, and if you're unfamiliar with Schiphol, then you will probably have gathered now that this is a runway that isn't really close by where the main platform is and where all the gates are. At the moment, runway 36 center is also being used for departures, and here we can see a very striking ITA Airways A320 in a beautiful shade of dark blue. So there are two runways parallel to each other used for departures at this moment. We are standing next to 36 left, but there's also 36 center. I think those are those ducks. Hard to see. So You could already tell that the Finnair A350 is having to taxi a big distance. What you see in the middle is the main ATC control tower. Now over here we are quite far removed from that location. You can imagine, even when visibility is good, it's hard to see what's going on over here, which is why this runway has its dedicated ATC control tower. This is the latest addition to the network of runways. In total, Schiphol has 6 runways, 5 large ones and 1 small one for biz jets, including this one. And this runway is the latest addition. It was finalized in 2003, so this year it celebrates its 20th birthday. PJS is greeting us from Australia. Good evening, mate. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. And Willem is checking in from Arizona, where it is 6 a.m. And Hanan, am I pronouncing that correctly, is checking in from Tel Aviv, so that is in the afternoon. Eggums 83 is checking in from Dallas, Texas, so that is a 7-hour time difference. So it is still really early in the night, in the morning, late in the night, early in the morning. YouTube Sam is saying A350 from China Airlines to Taipei have been pushed back. That would be great. It has been on flight radar all the time, and it does seem to have moved. So the downside is that Taipei, but then again that's the same holds for the destination of this Finnair A350. Helsinki lies to the east of the Netherlands, so normally speaking you would think if there are 2 runways in use you would use the easternmost, which means going to center, and maybe the China Airlines 350 will go there. If it will, we will still be able to see it, but only from a distance then. But first up, we're going to see this Finnair A350. It is ready to go right now. Flight 1302 A350-900 going to Helsinki in Finland, bringing us together since 2023 livery. The airplane is 3 years old. First flight was in May 2020. Rolls-Royce XWB engines inbound, ladies and gentlemen. Might get a little loud. Early rotation. Yeah, she's light, Kathleen. Definitely. Climbing steeply as well. That's an interesting juggle there, Yorkshire. Don't put the airplane volume too high, otherwise the people in your call will be wondering, is the guy working from an airport? Well, the wind does seem to pick up a little bit, folks. I can feel it blowing in the back of my neck. I think it is a bit more than the 8 knots that it was in the meter last time I updated it. But it's always good to have a nice challenge in your work day. If everything was too easy, life wouldn't be any fun. The opposite is also not true. It shouldn't be too difficult all the time, but a little challenge now and then makes things interesting. Now we are going to see KLM flight 1425. Embraer 190, destination Birmingham. The airplane is 14 years old and had its first flight in June 2009. YouTube Sam says, I always spot planes with my father. That's fun. I used to do that with my mom as well when I was little. I think most of us will have done that when they were little. And Egam says, I watch this at work. My co-workers think I'm weird. Well, at least they think something of you. That's better than when they say, who are we talking about? At least now they know, oh, that's the weird one that watches airplanes. Well, just ask them what they are watching during work time. See how they respond. Air Malta, I think I have a good idea of where it's going to fly to. I think it might be somewhere in the Mediterranean, just below Italy. Just a hunch. And the Type A350 going to 36 Center, that does seem like a logical choice. I was already surprised to see the Finnair A350 take off from over here. Yeah, it is on the taxiway that the airplanes that take off from 36 Center are also taking. It would have been more to the right, to the east, if it would go around the runway. So, hey there Luca, good afternoon. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. And ERB as well, good day to you. Now, 737 taking off over here. I will be looking at the A350 that is lining up at center and follow that one. Ah, Cactus Jack is the private jet of rapper Travis Scott. Now I feel old because I have absolutely no idea who that is and I have never heard of him. Named after his shoe line. Okay. Thanks for delving into that, Roy. Interesting information. I think we see the A350 over there. So this is China Airlines Flight 74, Airbus A350-900 outbound to Taipei. The airplane is 6 years old and had its first flight in September 2016. Looks like a little bit of condensation over the top of the wing. A little bit of wing fluff that we saw just now. Yo Evan, good day my friend, good to see you again. Well, in fact I don't think much longer. I was planning on streaming until 12:30 to 1 p.m. local time. It's now 12:40 p.m. and it all depends on the flow of air traffic, as I was saying before. Let's see. Hey, there is another. We get the chance to see the 767-400 for a second time within a week. United Airlines outbound to Washington DC. First time I saw that airplane was last week. This is the second time we're seeing the 767-400. Which is an airplane that we don't get to see very often. Of course, it's just a 767, but a bit longer than the standard 300s that we see more often over here. Okay, so Travis Scott is an American dating a Kardashian, Kathleen says. Okay, well, interesting. Travis Scott is the guy that had that incident at a concert. Okay, well, I'm going back. I'm going to crawl back under the stone I came from, but I have absolutely no idea what incident that was and probably missed that. And ERB, thank you so much for your kind words. Already liked and subscribed. Well, thank you so much. I think I am going to stick around for the United 767 that is coming this way. Outbound to Washington. It looks like after that it is going to calm down a little bit. Or is it? Dreamliner to Nairobi. It is on a taxiway that looks like it's going to center. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick around until the 767-400 has taken off, and after that I am going to call it quits for today, I think. And thank you so much, Evan, for your face with steam from nose super sticker. I will have to look that up once I come back home, because as you guys can see, my Ecamm Live app or program that I use to live stream, or at least put the ticker on, etc., and also the live chat, it doesn't show the pictures, it only shows the descriptions that are sometimes very fun to read out. It triggers the imagination. Okay, and there was an incident, but it's not. I'm assuming, Kathleen, you're referring to the incident not being appropriate for the chat. That was happening in Arizona or something. Hey, More celebration. Hey, 2 months. Well, Kathleen, time flies. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. Also, Kathleen and Yorkshire Biker, thank you both so much for all your moderation efforts that you've put into the channel so far. It really is amazing what this community is evolving into. Now, this is a small Embraer 175 going to Gothenburg. KLM flight 1157. A 7-year-old airplane that had its first flight in May 2016. Now, Wilma was already saying that it was getting sunny over where she is living. If I show you guys the big picture over here, you see that it is still mostly overcast. You do sometimes get the impression that the cloud base is opening up here and there, but the sun is still hiding behind all the clouds. The wind seems to have turned again, was blowing from the north initially, then a bit from the northeast. Now it does look like the smoke plume is more oriented left to right again. The wind is still the same as it has been over the last 2 weeks or so. North to northeast, so departures to the north, landings to the south, or to the north. No, landings from the south to the north as well, of course. And in the case of the Kaagbaan, to the northeast. Now, let me have a look on the computer screen. Is that a duck or is that a coot? I'm inclined to say it is a coot. I'm not entirely sure. Holy moly! What is this? Kathleen, thank you so much. This is also an extremely generous super sticker to boot. Baby Lemon jumping in our lemon character's arms to hug him. That sounds like a very, very cute one. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Thank you so much. Now, in the meantime, the United 767-400 has arrived on the scene. United Flight 947, it is a Boeing 767-400 going to Washington. It is a 767-400 ER, 22 years old. First flight was in August 2000. Now the pipeline after it is filled with one A319 and 2 Embraer 190s. The next heavy that comes this way looks to be a Dreamliner to Las Vegas, which is still on the south side and on the east side of runway 36 center, so it's still pretty far out. So I am officially confirming that this is going to be the last plane of the day, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us on this beautiful, albeit a bit chilly morning in Amsterdam. Thanks to each and every one of you who joined us. Thanks for all the people who were so kind to donate super stickers and super chats or memberships or becoming a new member. Thank you all so much. The channel wouldn't be anything without you guys. If you're new to the channel and you like what you saw, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. It really helps to grow the channel, and it also allows you to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live again, you receive a notification and can join us for more live streaming action from the ever-bustling Schiphol airport. Let's listen to the old school sound of this 767-400. Now, ordinarily I would say I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow, but as I mentioned earlier, and maybe not everyone has caught up on that yet, I do need to work on renewing the fence between the yard of me and my neighbor. We have been working on that for a few days now, but mostly in the evening hours after work. And we do plan to finish it up this weekend, so I'm not sure yet how much time tomorrow I will be spending on doing that and how much time I have left to go out streaming this weekend. I'll let you guys know as soon as I know more. If I'm not going out tomorrow, then hopefully on Sunday, and if not, then at least on Monday. There's always going to be another stream, that's for sure. I will keep you guys posted as soon as I know more. For now, I'm going to say thank you all for watching and joining us, and for all your interactions in the chat. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe, and I will see you guys again soon. I'm going to say bye for now. And indeed, schuttingtaal, Koenie. That is exactly the language I was talking about. Folks, I'm going to see you. Take care. Be safe. See you soon. Bye for now.